My name is Vanessa Cole, and 6 months ago, I buried my husband alone while my parents sat inside a psychiatrist's office trying to convince a stranger that I was mentally unstable. Even now, saying those words out loud feels unreal, like the kind of betrayal that only happens in movies or crime documentaries. But it happened to me. And the most terrifying part wasn't the lies they told about me. It was how calm they looked while doing it. My husband Ethan died on a rainy Thursday evening in November. A drunk driver crossed the highway median and hit his car head on. The police officer who came to my door kept talking, but after he said the word fatal, everything else sounded far away, like I was underwater. I remember dropping the coffee mug in my hand. I remember the sound it made against the kitchen floor. And I remember thinking, no, not Ethan, not him. Ethan was only 38 years old. He was healthy, careful, the kind of man who checked weather reports before road trips and called me when he arrived somewhere safely. He was also the only person who ever made me feel completely protected. Not controlled, protected. There's a difference. He had this quiet steadiness about him that made bad days feel survivable. Even during hard times, Ethan could sit beside me on the couch, put his hand over mine, and somehow make the world feel less frightening. When he died, that feeling disappeared overnight. The house became unbearably quiet. Every room felt haunted. His coffee mug still sat beside the sink. His shoes were still near the front door. His reading glasses were still on the nightstand beside our bed. I couldn't move any of it. For weeks, I barely functioned. I forgot to eat. I stopped answering texts. Sometimes I'd wake up at 3 a.m. convinced I heard Ethan unlocking the front door. Then reality would hit me all over again.
My father,
Every
Daniel
single time,
Cole, started coming
like
over
losing him for
almost
the
daily.
first time.
My mother, Vivian, brought
During
food
all of
I
this,
never ate
my
and
parents
walked
suddenly
around my
became
house
very
pretending
involved
to
in my
help
life.
organize things.
Too involved.
But now I understand
At
they
first,
weren't helping
I
me
thought
grieve.
they were simply worried
They were
about me.
studying my life, studying my weakness, looking for cracks they could use later. Growing up, appearances meant everything to my parents. My father spent most of his life chasing business opportunities that failed spectacularly. Restaurants, investments, cryptocurrency, real estate flips. Every few years, there was a new guaranteed success that somehow collapsed and left them deeper in debt. My mother cared more about looking wealthy than actually being financially stable. Designer bags, luxury makeup, country club memberships they couldn't afford, smiling family photos hiding unpaid bills. I became the good daughter because I was responsible, quiet, successful, useful. And when I married Ethan, a successful architect who made excellent money, my parents practically treated him like they'd won the lottery. At first, Ethan didn't mind helping them. He paid off one of their credit cards after my father made a terrible investment. Then came emergency loans, mortgage payments, medical bills. Every crisis somehow became our responsibility. But Ethan wasn't naive. He noticed patterns long before I did. One night, about a year before he died, he sat beside me in bed and said something I'll never forget. "Vanessa, your parents don't love stability. They love access." At the time, I defended them. Now I wish I had listened harder. After Ethan's death, my parents started asking strange questions almost immediately. Questions grieving parents shouldn't ask a widow. How much was Ethan's life insurance policy? Did he leave a trust? Who controls the accounts now? Do you know where the property documents are? My mother kept wandering into Ethan's office pretending to dust shelves. My father kept asking if I was handling things emotionally. At the time, I thought they were just awkward and insensitive. Grief blinded me to danger. Then came the funeral, the worst day of my life. And somehow, my parents made it even worse. The funeral took place on a cold, gray Monday morning. Rain tapped softly against the church windows while people filled the pews in silence. Ethan's coworkers came. His college friends came. Even neighbors I barely knew showed up holding flowers and casseroles. But my parents never arrived. I kept checking the back doors of the church, waiting to see my father's silver Mercedes pull into the parking lot. Nothing. My younger brother Nathan sat beside me, looking confused. "Have you heard from Mom and Dad?" he whispered. I shook my head. By the time the service started, my chest felt hollow. I stood beside Ethan's coffin, giving the hardest eulogy of my life, while secretly scanning the room for my parents, like a child waiting to be picked up after school. They never came. Not to the church, not to the cemetery, not even afterward. While I buried my husband, my parents were somewhere else entirely. And 2 days later, I discovered exactly where.